We're going to keep this one energetic and lively. This is a really great topic. So we're going to get started. My name's Olivia Omega. I'm the Founder Track Chair. I've been organizing the Founder Track for 5 years now and coming to Denver Startup Week for almost 10 years. And so it has grown, maybe not in numbers, but has evolved so much. The first year I came, it was literally 95% white men in tech. And it has blossomed into a beautiful experience. So I want to thank you all for being here today on day 3. How many of you were here yesterday and the day before? Awesome. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. We do want to make sure that you all are actually registering. So the whole way we track our numbers, even though it's a free event, is that people are registering on the site. So if you haven't done that, if you could do that sometime today, just so that we can understand our numbers coming. That also helps us in future years with sponsorships, et cetera. There is coffee. It's a couple hours old, but it's good. There's some donuts. They're a couple hours old, but they're good over here if you want to grab something after this panel. And I'm going to hand it over to Pamela. And if you want to welcome everyone and introduce, we're going to talk about building a village and how important that is. And I'm so excited to hear their story.
Again, thank you guys so much for attending our session. Just a quick, I'm going to introduce everybody, but just quickly, everybody here on this panel, I've known at least 2 or more years. Everybody has different businesses, but we all probably connect in the community a lot. Some I know more, I spent more time than others, but like we genuinely do know each other. So like we're not just here to show you guys, we really do spend time and know each other. So I've got 3 people still coming. One's by Children's Hospital. Don't know what happened. One is parking, and then I haven't heard from one, but nevertheless, as an entrepreneur, you just bounce and do what you got to do and do it how you got to do it. So this is going to be fine. Everybody's here that's supposed to be here. Everybody's listening, so we're going to be good. So let's see, who do I have? I have Miss Panya Hurt. I met Panya through an organization called Rocky Mountain Microfinance, and I was her mentor. And I think, though, she ended up being my mentor, too. So thank you, Panya. I have Cherise. I've known Cherise through Sister Biz, 4 years, 5 years, a long time. We were like the first cohort. And the idea for this session came from, there's 8 of us. And 4 of us were supposed to be here and 4 are not here, but there was 8 of us. And 3 or 4 years ago, I think we did it. And we still communicate like, on my phone, we had a text thread this morning. Like we're always texting and emailing and supporting, and so that's how I met Miss Cherise. I just saw her last night at the kitchen. This is Keisha. Keisha and I also met at an event, but before Sister Biz. Like, your baby is what, 5?
Yeah, he's 5.
Okay, he wasn't a year when we used to meet at Einstein's over there in 40th in Montbello Gateway area. And we would meet, and it's really cool because all of our businesses started like just ideas and thoughts and stuff, and to see where everybody is now, it's just amazing. So I'm gonna have them tell you about their business because I cannot do their businesses justice.
Okay, I'll start. I guess we can sit down?
Yes, you can sit down.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Panya Hurd. It's like Tanya with a P, as in Paul. Panya, I know it's different. I am a single mother of 2. Both my children are grown now, and I am a grandmother of 1. He's 7. Let's see, my journey just started. I worked in corporate America for 20 years at AT&T. I was very tech savvy. I'm the one who explained how the Ethernet worked, and it's very IT network driven, very opposite of what I'm doing now. In the midst of working there, I knew I needed a career change. I went to culinary school. I graduated from Johnson & Wales University in 2017. I was still working at AT&T, but wasn't sure what my next steps were gonna be. Finally, I put in the universe asking them to lay me off. They laid me off March 2019. I went on a sabbatical. I did a trip through Europe trying to find myself, like, what am I going to do next? And I decided to start my own business. I knew I wanted to do something in the food industry, but wasn't exactly sure what. I have worked in restaurants before. I have found out through working in restaurants, one, I'm too old. And two, I knew I always wanted to be my own boss. I was pretty much the boss at my old job. So going and starting from the bottom was a complete ego shift for me. It was a great shift, but I'm glad it happened. So I decided to start my business, and I called it Diddy Pop. People are like, where does Diddy Pop come from? Well, my nickname before the famous one was P. Diddy. People don't want to believe me, but whatever, I'm that old. And because he's famous and I'm not yet, I had changed my username for the last 20 years to Diddy Pop. So when it came, fast forward 20 years to start my business, I decided to name my business Diddy Pop. So I started off as a catering business. As I started to do this, I didn't understand how to run a business. I knew the steps from Google, but I didn't really understand what to do. I was flying blind. And I started an entrepreneur boot camp class with our MMFI, and that's where I met Miss Pamela over here, and she was one of my mentors. And that's also around when COVID hit. So I had to realign what I was doing as a service person. I said, I need a product, but not just any product. I actually wanted to contribute back to society in a healthy way. And I know it sounds simple, but it came to me, and I said, smoothies. I'm going to start selling smoothies. So I began a branch from Diddy Pop Catering into Diddy Pop Smoothies. And I just been going gung-ho with that ever since. I'm at farmers markets. You'll find me at City Park Farmers Market every Saturday. I'm at Arvada's Farmers Market every Sunday. I do a lot of pop-up events and vegan markets around the city now. Some of you may have heard of me. I don't know, maybe not, but I offer vegan smoothies. I offer nutrition meal plans. I offer guidance and help to anybody who needs help with their nutrition or ideas or anything like that, because I've educated myself, and I just want to be a service to the community. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell. I enjoy making networking business to business with other entrepreneurs and trying to see how we can help each other, because there's not many of us as a community that is out there. For example, at the farmers market, I am the only woman of color, if not one of two people of the entire market. And it's not a big deal because I believe in my product and what I'm selling, because it's for everybody. But as far as representation, it kind of makes you feel a little alone sometimes. So having this community of sisterhood and the business is most important. So I appreciate being here today, and I hope we could get a lot of inspiration from everybody's story here today. Thank you.
I don't know if you wanted to go in a certain order or not. Okay. My name is Sharice Peterson, and my business is Natural Urbanity. And I am a wife, a mother of 5, ranging from 23 to 15 in a couple of weeks. And I still work in corporate America and work my business as my side hustle and have been working my business for I started as a hobby about 8, 9 years ago. And I make natural hair and body products. And how I got started was back when I was relaxing my hair and addicted to the creamy crack. I got tired of doing it because every time I went into a salon, they'd look at my hair and see how thick it was, and they'd upcharge me. And so between that and then looking at all the ingredients and hearing about how relaxers would, cause alopecia and other scalp burns and different things going on, I took a trip to California with my sister, and she's been natural for her hair for 2 decades now, and relaxing. She was like, "Girl, I'm taking you to the salon, and I'm gonna, you're gonna get a flat iron." I was like, "A flat iron? That's not gonna work for me because this is thick." And once I did that, I was like, I could do this, and it's not chemicals and stuff on my hair, and so it'll be cheaper. I can do it myself, and so I started transitioning from doing relaxers to natural hair, and that was really a journey for me because I never knew what my natural hair really looked like outside of it being straight, because with working in corporate America, for at least for a black woman, you have a certain persona and look that you have to attain and keep up. Otherwise, you're looked at as from the just dirty, unkept, and just not really professional. And so my journey started there, and I started making my own products because I soon found out that natural products back when Carol's Daughter hit the scene were expensive. They were out of my price range, and I have a big family. So I started YouTubing, and I became a serial YouTuber and found out that a lot of things I could make myself. So I just started that. And then one day a coworker said, "Girl, I'll buy that from you." And I was like, "Really?" So I started it. My business started there. It started really as a hobby, and from there it has evolved into not only making hair products but body products. I make everything from scrubs, body butter, lotion bars, just everything. And now I'm getting more focused on fine-tuning hair products that are naturally derived, and doing that research. I'm such a nerd and geek when it comes to ingredients, and I want to know all about them, the science behind them, and that's my love. And so with Sisterpreneurs is where I met Miss Pam and Keisha and Tessa, and I was one of the first people with Sisterpreneurs. But when she brought the retail cohort, we all connected, and we've been pretty much tied to the hip since then. On our rough days, on our hard days, when we just need to vent, we're there for each other, and I love the space that we created and continue to create.
Good afternoon. How are y'all doing today? How was the weather? Look, I was running late, but God is good. I got a parking space right across the street. Can we get an amen? So as you know, I'm Keisha. My business is Herbal Honey. I make custom formulated herbal products, which primarily means tea, but I also do salves, honeys, tinctures, all kinds of fun stuff. I'm gonna skip my backstory because I put this makeup on and I'm not gonna wipe it off in here today. Matter of fact, I was late because I'm the sweats girl. I'm the sweats chick, like sweats, a hoodie, like my beanie, and these ladies were like, "Oh no, we're putting on actual clothes." And I was like, pause. I gotta roll up looking like an adult? Like, this is outside of the parameters of how I designed and agreed to do my business. I had a meeting with my mentor one time, and I came in my sweats because I didn't know. She set up a meeting for me, and she pulled me to the side after, and she said, "Hey, I need you to dress business casual." And I was like, hey, if I can't wear what I want to, I'm not gonna show up. But that was 5 years ago. So the more mature me says, put on some dress pants when you gotta put on dress pants. But what you see up here is a bunch of blurs. And if you don't know what a blurred is, that's a black nerd. And there's nothing like nerding out with the homies and getting lost in that. That's what we do. We nerd out together. We push each other. We sometimes babysit for each other. I know you heard her say, I got a 5-year-old. Well, Reese, just like me, we got a gaggle of kids. Mine range from 25 to 5. And it's just amazing what you can do when you put a bunch of minds together. I don't know if you've ever gotten with your friends and been like, let's brainstorm. Like the ability to pull out 1,000 ideas from a bunch of different perspectives is so powerful in pushing you forward as a business owner. Because my one mind and my taste buds is not gonna get it. I can do some amazing things, but just because I like it, it doesn't always work out that way. So not only is this community and a network, it's also a sounding board for ideas, for thoughts. I send them files all the time. They're probably like, where did she get the time to do this? I'm like, hey, look at this video. Hey, look at this. Hey, look at this. Hey, did y'all do this? Hey, do this. And cheerleaders. Everybody needs a cheerleader. I clap really well for myself, but it sounds so much better when other people are clapping with me. And sometimes I can't clap for myself at all. Yesterday, Pamela reminded me that I do a lot. Because I was like, girl, I don't think I'm doing enough. She said, excuse me? And she called me out on all the things that I do. So perspective is one of the most valuable things that I get from these ladies. But if you want to know my backstory, and it's beautiful, you can go to my website, herbalhoney.net. It has all my details. Well, most of them. Most of them. I can't put everything out there because I need you to like me. I need to be a likable person. And if we're all honest with ourselves, you know, we've done some things that look like kicking a puppy in other people's eyes. So I'm going to pass the mic. You got it?
Hello, entrepreneurship, right? Y'all see me come in late. I apologize for that. I was just coming from another event that I had to attend to with DPS. So, but I'm super excited to be here with all of you and all of these lovely ladies. And I obviously just came in, but I'm hearing you talk about cheerleading and having people on your team that are able to really motivate you to keep going and keep doing what you do is super, super, super important. Pam, it does that for me. My name is Nicey Smullen. I'm the owner and visionary for Wicked Ambitions Sweet Creations and Wicked Ambitions Catering. So I own a bakery, and we focus on custom goods, filled treats, and anything that you need for smaller parties, large parties, whatever you need, and then also the catering aspect for larger corporations. So Pam and I work in a commercial kitchen together, and I go in there sometimes just doing inventory or whatever I'm doing, and when I see Pam, she is just always such motivation. She is always in there doing her thing, and we talk about our business. We talk about things that are going great. We talk about our goals. We talk about our challenges, and just having someone like that around and available is an amazing feeling, because entrepreneurship is no joke. Most of us do it because we have a passion for different things, right? But we also do it as a way to feed our families and to build generational wealth. And for me to educate, I love hosting classes and things for young people to come in and learn, you know, exactly what it is to be an entrepreneur or a chef or a baker, whatever you want to learn. So just being able to really have people in your corner is going to be a key in entrepreneurship. And I don't know what else I'm supposed to say, but I hope that was great. Okay.
You're welcome. You don't need to know who I am. No, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Shayla Richard. I will be your moderator for this panel. Do they need to know anything else about me?
No, let her go.
And
She is.
no, and I will pass.
I love her dearly. This is my niece. She made me an auntie, and I love her dearly. I really do, but
Right now, she loves me.
I do. I do.
Go ahead, Ms. Tess.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and listening to us talk to you. My name is Tessa Johnson Farrell Jones. I am the owner of Akasha Be Well Skincare. It is a natural luxury skincare brand specifically formulated for oily skin. Specifically formulated for oily skin. Can you hear me now? I have a tendency to do that, so thank you so much. Did you hear what I said the first time? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Let me start over. My name is Tessa Johnson Farrell Jones. I am the owner of Akasha Be Well Skincare. It is a luxury natural skincare brand, especially formulated for oily skin. So I'm here. I'm a native. I'm born, raised here in Colorado. Whoop, whoop, Denver. Went to school at Montbello. Yay, Warriors. Okay. I'm also an Army veteran. I served in the United States Army. Who? Anybody know veterans here? Just me? Okay, cool. And I started my business because my brother really pushed me to do it. Rest in peace, Nicholas. Because I used to make products for my family, and he was like, "You should do it as a business." And I was like, "No, I shouldn't. Like, nobody wants to buy my stuff." And he was like, "You should." And so he really pushed me to do that around 2015, 2016. So when I started, I felt alone. I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know how to build the community that I needed because I didn't know what I needed at the time. I came across Sisterpreneurs with Makisha, and she pretty much just told me what I needed and gave me people to do it with. And I'm an introvert, so I will not talk to you. I don't like talking to people. I won't sit next to you. I'm usually in the back, just like observing and writing stuff down. And if I have a question, I'll ask. But for the most part, I tend to be the quieter one in the group. Me and Reese are like the quieter ones in the group. Keisha was right about the blurs. We are nerds. I have a degree in biology. And so I really like to nerd out with her. Her and I are the herbalists in the group as well. And this sense of community was really built from the ground up. We started, in 2018, 2019, just meeting and talking and really having really great discussions about what we needed and what it could look like for us. It has evolved over the last few years, especially during the 2020 when the pandemic hit. We really, really needed each other then because we had to figure out what this was going to look like and how each of us were going to pivot. And so bouncing off ideas and questions and really trying to navigate some of these spaces that were new for us still and that were trying to, themselves pivot was a whole other thing for us. So really being there for each other, not just in business but in life, has really been a lifesaver for us.
I am Pamela. I want to make sure there's 4 of us that are not here, and I want to make sure that you can do that? Okay, I didn't know. That's when you run a business, you tend to try to run everything. My bad. But anyway, I want to make sure that they get their shout outs. We have Celeste Rios. She owns a business called Light as a Feather. We have Angela Wells, who owns a business called Serene Naturals, which is like she does skincare, hair care. We have Spirit Corley. Her business is Gem Sense Aromatics. And then we have Manuska Sainville, and Manuska does chubby curls. I'm sure you've seen Manuska, like her brother Jeff. So those are the 4 women that are not here. We all have jobs, and they had their jobs today. So I want to make sure that we give them their flowers as well. Okay, my name is Pamela Richard. My business is called Miss Peabody Southern Tea Cakes. I started my business because I got fired from a job. That's me, girl. I got fired from a job that I didn't mind getting fired, but you know how when you're in a relationship with a man or whoever you're in a relationship with and you want to leave them first, but they leave you first? That's how that went down. I wanted to quit, but they did it for me. So that was when I discovered Netflix. I never watched Netflix. And there's this show, The Great British Baking Show. Started watching that show. And on one particular episode, they were talking about food from your childhood. What brought you joy from your childhood? And for me, my family's from Louisiana. And tea cakes are everywhere in Louisiana. Barbershops, gift shops, liquor stores. You can find tea cakes. Everybody's got a recipe. There's tea cakes. So I said, I'm just going to try and see what happens. So I started making them and testing them out, and I got my recipe from my aunt, God rest her soul. And started testing them out, and I took them to my church, and people really liked them. So I set a goal, I think it was February of 2018 maybe. I set a goal to sell 25 dozen tea cakes, and if I sell those 25 dozen tea cakes, I'm starting a business. Ended up selling 30 dozen of tea cakes. And my first customer was a gentleman by the name of Corey. He's a plumber. He came to my house to fix some plumbing, and we were talking about the business. He's like, I'll buy some. So I baked for him that day. While he was fixing my plumbing, I baked for him that day in my home. But my business started, it's family oriented. It's definitely based and oriented in the love of God, because I don't know how some of the things that are happening to me happen, because I don't know, because sometimes I'm not always with it. You know, I'm trying to do what I'm doing, but I've been really, really blessed. I've been really fortunate to be written up in 303 magazine, 5280 magazine, so my business is going well. Now, when COVID hit, this is the weird thing about COVID. Before COVID, I had a web sheet. It wasn't even a page, it was a sheet. And you could just go in there and look at my name and everything. What I did when COVID happened is I pivoted, and I had a website created where then you could go online and buy my product. And COVID that year, 2019, was the best year of my business. Now, I don't know whether that was because of what happened with George Floyd, whether there was an upkeep on black businesses, but my business did the best that I've ever done since then was in 2019 when COVID hit. I've been in business about 4 years now. You can find my products at Meow Wolf, as well as Tea Lee's Tea House, which is over in Five Points, which is another black-owned business. Ms. Risa is also, her and her husband, God rest his soul, were mentors to me. I remember Mr. Freeman had me come in there 7 times to pitch. I kid you not, 7 times, and he would look at me and he'd shake his head. I said, okay, I'll be back. When he would do this, I'm like, okay, I'll be back. Finally, he did this, and I knew I was in, but that gave me practice for other pitches, for other companies, other businesses to get into. So these women here, I met Nicey, she doesn't even remember, we met at community college, and my aunt had just passed, and she had little bitty cupcakes, and she was so nice to me, and her cupcakes felt like love, and that day I struggled. I struggled that day because it was still new. But your food and your enthusiasm and trying to figure it out was just so encouraging to me that you made that day a little bit better. And I never told you that, but that meant a lot to me because I was struggling that day. So as we're talking about a village, like, yes, we text. She was texting this morning about what y'all gonna wear. I'm gonna wear sweats. It's like, don't do that. Don't come in here with no sweats, you know. Tessa is the nerdy one, you know. I love, like I said, Panya, I was her mentor, but she has taught me so much as a chef that I use in my business. Reese's Ashby Gun, we call it Ashby Gun. That's not what she calls it, but we call it Ashby Gun because it gets rid of the ashiness on your skin. That's just our little name. Don't y'all call it that, but that's what we call it. Keisha, she got these kids, and I don't know how she does all the things that she does, because she's got kids, and she got a little one, and he was a nursing little one, and he was about his breast, right? But she always has so much information. Last night, did you apply for this grant? Did you know this? I'm like, yeah, I emailed you. It was in the group chat. I'm like, Keisha, girl, I'm trying to bake. Let me write it down. Let me write it down, because she's a wealth of information. She's always got something to say, you know? So, like the other 4 that are not here, but just even, I'm in the commercial kitchen a lot, and there's quite a few females that own food trucks and businesses that come out of that kitchen, and we always support each other. I eat good in the kitchen. Let me tell you, there's some really phenomenal women, food truck owners, that have amazing food. Let's see, Taste of Tabasco is one of them. The woman with Masosi? It's an African woman, but yeah, she makes really, really good food. So just the village that we have here is one, but there's tons of us out there in terms of being supportive and helping each other. And we've had deaths, we've had births, you know, we've had a baby. How old is our baby? A year? He's almost a year now? No, Celeste's baby. Is he a year? Yeah, he's about a year. No, not you, Keisha, no. So anyway, I know, right? I'm gonna go ahead and pass it on to Shayla. We have some questions, and you guys might have questions too, but again, thank you guys for coming.
That's fine, I use this. All right, well, thank you ladies very much for sharing your stories and things that are really relevant to the journey of entrepreneurship and the specific challenges that you face as Black women in entrepreneurship. So before I go to my list of questions, I will put it out to the audience and see if any of you had any particular questions. Yes, ma'am. And just state your name and you can direct your question wherever you like.
Absolutely. So my name is Kamaria. I'm like you, I work full-time, but I also have a side business in event planning. But one question I had for each of you is, where do you feel that being a Black woman has been an advantage for you as opposed to a deterrent?
Who wants to take that question? All right, Ms. Macy.
That is a great question, and I love your name. So not only am I an entrepreneur and I run a business, but I come from nonprofit and corporate organizations. And at the nonprofit that I just left, I was one of the only Black women in the organization, one of the only minority women in the organization. I feel that that is an advantage because it gives me the chance to speak up for those who aren't able to, but also everybody supports my business, right? So it definitely has its advantages. And also being in corporate, there are lots of connections that are available, and going to events and attending things and networking really helps build those kinds of relationships in the corporate world.
So for me, the benefit of my Blackness, number one, is the sassiness. Two, and I wish I had found this a long time ago, the freedom to just be a Black girl. So I spent my life as a fly in the milk. And so the advantage of that, along with working in the corporate world where the expectation is that for every one thing you do, I'm gonna do 3 to 5. When Pam said, you do a lot, and I said, I haven't done enough. That comes from that mindset. But now I have the ability to take that work ethic and restructure it in a way that's actually functional. So there's that. Just everything that comes with being Black. My ability to step over and around the nonsense, the stick-to-itiveness, because so many businesses launch and don't make it to year 3. But I ain't gonna fail. Please believe that. I don't care how long it takes me, because this is what I love to do. And when God gives you a passion, it's for a reason. So I'm doing what I love. I have the ability to stick to it. I have this obsessive work style that I gained from working in corporate America that I can now restructure into something functional. I got the pieces that I need, not to mention the creativity. I don't know if that's just, I'm not gonna say that white people and Latinas and everybody else aren't creative. I think we're all creative in our own lane based on the nature of our culture, right? So our creativity stems somewhat from how we grew up, what we know, what's our culture, what's your background. So there's that piece of it, because I no longer code switch. Whatever I say is what I'm gonna say. So I praise the Lord. I don't have my mind, I want it when I get older. That's how you get Alzheimer's. Multitasking, code switching is a multitask, and I'm just gonna talk. So that's the benefit, the other benefit of my Blackness, is that I can relate to anybody and everybody can understand me. So I love it. I'm gonna pass this on so we don't take
you. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Shout it out. You host the monthly event, Santa Fe Art District. That is like Denver Startup Week. I'm translating. His grandparents were Mexican. Oh, okay, I didn't know. Okay, so I want to make sure that I can interpret your question, because we appreciate the context for sure around what you've provided, but essentially you're asking, how can you engage people and create a space in which they feel comfortable coming as they are and meeting them where they are, and also delivering the message that they don't have to change or code switch to be welcome there? Miss Carrie has an add-on.
So one of the things is, like, as a black woman, I know I'm not the only person in the room. Prime example, Tech Alley. And I think a lot of times is that a lot of black people that I know, they don't feel comfortable until they see somebody. Okay, maybe I can do that, but how can we set that standard where it's like you don't have to see somebody of your color to still feel comfortable to go in and build that relationship?
There's something in me that wants to take this question. And the reason I say that is because I'll preface it with this: you can't be what you can't see. And a lot of times, specifically in the tech space, you don't see people who look like you in the tech space. I exist in the tech space. I was the only black woman in my coding class. I was the only black woman in my department at my company. I went to DU. I was the only black woman in a lot of spaces that I occupied on that campus for 4 years. So I don't know specifically the recipe to give someone to tell them how to feel comfortable, because if you don't feel comfortable in your skin at home when you're by yourself or with your family or with your friends, you're not going to feel comfortable in any other space. And it's really, frankly, no one else's job to make you feel comfortable. It is your job to have confidence and trust in who you are and your ability and what you are there for. And it's okay to take up space. And I've heard that, and we hear that all the time, that it's okay to take up space and how to take up space and maybe what that looks like. But as a black woman, or a Latina or an Asian or any other person of color or person from a marginalized category, I would say feel comfortable and confident to show up as you are and take up that space because you're comfortable being there. It's not his job to make you feel comfortable. It's not my job to make you feel comfortable. You have to believe that you belong. And if you believe that you belong, no one can make you feel that you can't. So that's my particular answer to that question, but we'll see what Miss Tessa Johnson Farrell Jones.
She like, not me. Reese. Sir. All right. So thank you, both of you, for your question. So I will speak to you first. And so my thing is, I'm always like the pepper in the milk, right? My degree is in biology, but I have a unique perspective where I was raised in a Mexican household. My mom is Mexican and Navajo. And so I kind of straddle like two fences in that aspect. So for me, I would say to meet people where they are, we're in Denver, like really work that network type of thing, right? Because then you'll see that there are people that are looking for you. So just like Shayla said about the tech step, I'm pretty sure you have a lot of information that we're not privy to, that we don't know, because we're not in those spaces either. So I would say, I know for us, one of the things for us was when we got into sisterpreneurs or just that sphere, it was Makisha who really put us into these different areas. For me to get in touch with even who Makisha was, are you familiar with, what's on Champa? Commons on Champa? Right. That was a really good place. Where's she at? I just saw her. Olivia. She was my person who got me into that. And it was a really good way for us to kind of like point us into different places, but also let us know where we can put your information out, because we have our different bubbles as well. If you want, we can be like, hey, place where you can go, get some information, and he really wants to see us there, right? And then tell your people, bring your people with you, right? So that would help as well. And then for you, Miss Carrie, same thing like she said, like I'm pretty sure you're used to being the fly, the pepper in the milk as well. But I feel like that's a strength for us, because then like if we're there because there's nobody else there, then if I see you, I'm more likely to come and sit next to you. Well, probably not next, but probably behind you. You don't talk to me. But I'll be more comfortable being there because I'm like, okay, she's there, right? And then Reese, with her introvert self, she'll come and sit behind us, right? But at least we're there in that space, and we can sit there and, be in community together. Is that?
I love that too, because there's a quote that I saw right around the George Floyd situation, because I'm in the online space and they were like, hey, who's a person of color that you want to highlight and things like that. And I was like, don't put me in that category. I was like, I want you to see me because you've done amazing. But there was a quote that said, there's a difference between inviting somebody to the party and asking them to dance. And I remember when I saw that, I was like, I want to be the beacon for other Black women to see, like, hey, it is possible. Like, there's places for you, there's things for you to do, and you can have a successful business as long as you put yourself out there. Right.
Yeah. And I was just going to add, I agree with everything Tessa said, and you'll have to excuse my introvert self, but like being patient, with in developing those networks, being patient with introverts like us, that sometimes we just need someone else to just reach out their hand, and you might be having your hand out there a while, but eventually, someone's going to have the courage to say, okay, let me just visit, so being patient and keeping your doors open and just being inviting. No, it's not, your job to make people feel more comfortable, but keeping your doors open in that space for that, so that as you invite different networks, maybe just going out and looking for people that you're trying to, invite into that space, and being diligent or persistent in that, and saying, whenever you are ready, we're here. This is what we've built this space for. So, just don't give up.
There's one thing I wanted to say really quick in terms of ground rules. I've heard it from the panel, and I want to make sure that everybody understands that it's okay to be introverted, it's okay to be quiet. We don't want to apologize for that. We don't want to apologize for being who we are. If we're introverted, if we're extroverted, we don't want to apologize for that. There's nothing to be sorry about. There's nothing wrong with that. It is not a mistake. There's nothing wrong. So don't apologize for being introverted or being quiet. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing to apologize for. So no more apologies while I'm up here moderating for anything at all. No apologies.
And that's okay. Don't apologize for that.
This is a no suffer zone, right? I would like to comment about what you were saying. And one of the things that I feel like in my life is my job is to get my needs met. And I grew up in Denver, and I went to Metro, and like everyone else that has said, I've been the only one, maybe the only two in a class, or I remember my professor telling me that I was one of the smartest black girls he had ever met. I didn't know who he had met because all my friends were smart, so I don't know where he was in his circle. But I always think my job is to get my needs met. As an entrepreneur, when I get in my own way, I think about my business, and my business is very, very important to me. So I'll put aside who I am and my fears and my stuff to get what I need from Miss Peabody's. You know, but again, my goal and my thing is, and I think it should be for all of us, is to get your needs met. You know, so you can't be afraid to walk into a room. You can't be afraid to be the only one. And I've been the only one. Even in this entrepreneurial sphere, I've been to the Commons and I've been the only one. Oh well, because my job is to get what I need. My job is to get my needs met. My job is to get the answers that I need. My job is to grow my business so I can put me aside so that I can do that. So your job is to get your needs met.
Thank you. And to add on one other thing to that, in terms of leveraging your resources, your online resources, if you go on LinkedIn, you can look up software engineer, for example. Find someone who maybe looks like you or maybe is in this, working for a company that you want to work for, and take the chance. Take the chance and reach out to them. I had to seek out my own mentors. I had to seek that out for myself. And it's scary because the biggest fear that we all have is rejection. You don't want someone to tell you no. But you have to think about those no's as deposits in the bank towards cashing that yes check. So just take a chance and get your needs met, like she said, because she's going to get her needs met. And I'm going to get my needs met too. No, it's out. All right. Are there any other questions from? Oh, nicey. Yes, ma'am. And then I'll come to you, Birdie.
Love your
'Cause
nails.
I know your name. Thank you. I know your name.
Real quick, I just want to stress how important it is also, no matter how introverted, extroverted, loud, soft, you know, however your personality goes, it is super important to network and to put yourself out there and to, nobody's going to ever promote your business or have the same passion about something unless you're out there really explaining it to them. So with that being said, I'm going to throw in a shameless plug. Also knowing your resources and knowing that there are spaces out here available for minorities, people of color, and all kinds of different spaces that are available, right? So I work for the Mountain Plains Minority Supplier Development Council, and we work with to get minority businesses certified so that they can work with corporations and larger organizations and government entities, Excel, PayPal, and different things like that. Not only do we connect them with larger organizations, but we connect them with other minority businesses because it's important for us to connect with each other. And so if anyone is interested in learning more about like getting connected in that kind of way, I know we have so many tech companies that are not only startups, but organizations and companies that have been doing this for a while, and they are mentors to newer businesses who are out here getting certified. So just knowing that there are so many certifications and so many resources out here available specifically for minorities is super important to know. So
We can do a resource rundown at the end. It's just of resources that we know, you know, websites, businesses, organizations. We can do a rundown maybe at the end so that everyone who's taking notes has an opportunity to record those things as well. Yes, ma'am. I'll meet you halfway.
Thank you. So thank you guys so much for the panel. I love, you know, living in Denver and going out into the world. It feels often like you have to explain that you're Black from Denver. Yeah, every single time I leave the state, people are like, they're Black people, and I have to explain this whole thing. But so on that level alone, thank you. Manual High, anyone? I'm just saying. But the question I want to ask, and you're going to laugh, I want to talk about your rates and your money. So if you could share how you are confidently pricing your products and services, I think that would be really helpful to people. because in the beginning, I remember running into you. You remember me, and I was like, you have to raise your rates. And so I'm curious about this.
And then she texted me and told me to log in and change the rates. All right, I will go with Miss Panya, and then we'll pass it over to Keisha.
Well, I have to admit, when I first started both my catering and my smoothie business, my rates were all wrong. I didn't believe in myself, and my prices showed it. Like, I was selling smoothies for $5. Like, what? It cost me $3 to make the smoothie, not including the bottle and the labeling. But I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking, as long as somebody buys it, that's all that matters to me. It's like, it's confidence at the end of the day. You have to have confidence in yourself. You have to believe in your product. And then also compare what's out there in the market currently, whatever it is that you're selling, whether it's you creating apps or you're creating food, you have to compare the prices that other people are selling that exact same thing for. And then qualify yourself, okay, this is where I need to price my product at. One, because you don't want to overprice, but you also want to be fair to yourself and to your consumer. So that's where I feel finally 2-3 years into this, I finally feel confident in my pricing. I don't feel like I am overcharging. I don't feel like I'm undercharging. I don't feel like I'm doing myself a disservice. I have to consider my labor, my time. I'm not a corporation. I'm not Amazon. I can't punch out 500 units in an hour. You know what I mean? So therefore, my prices aren't going to reflect $2.50 like the Naked Juice and King Supers does. And explaining that to customers in a normal way, if they say, oh, this costs too much, and say, actually, it costs just right, and this is why. And you have to explain that to people sometimes because people are used to Amazon. They're used to Walmart, what's cheap and what's quick and what's easy. Where when you have a small business, nothing's cheap, nothing's quick, and nothing's easy. And you have to price your products accordingly to that. Absolutely. Because a lot of times because you're, I hate to say it, because you're black, people assume it should be cheaper, period. And that's ridiculous. But if someone sold the exact same product next to me and they were another color, you would pay it 10 times more, which is psychologically brainwashing crazy town. So stand by your product, stand by your price, and believe in what it is that you're selling, always.
So when it comes to pricing, you got to do a thorough analysis. You got to check your competitors. You have to price out what does it cost, your ingredients, what does it cost you to make it. She talked about our labor. What is your labor cost? What is your packaging cost? What is the profit margin that you're wanting to set? Like, do you want to be able to have a sale, or do you want to just like make enough to make some more? So I mean, honestly, you gotta put it all together. So really a thorough analysis. I have a spreadsheet that I use with every product that I create. All of the ingredients go in there, the cost for those ingredients, the cost for the packaging, the cost for my labor, and I pay myself well, how long it's gonna take me to make it so I can get the right amount of my labor. And then that cost for labor, it's also what I'm gonna pay someone else to come and do it as I grow. So you have to plan, but also plan ahead. You got to put yourself in position to keep moving forward, because that labor cost, the time associated with that labor as your business grows, the time is going to go down. So you're going to save money. So your profit margin is going to grow. And the cost of your ingredients as your business grows, those are going to go down because you're going to buy in greater bulk. So everything is in a position to create greater wealth for you, but you have to line it up properly from the beginning, because otherwise you might charge a price that's fair within the market, but it doesn't relate to your product because you may have a specific niche. I'm in the food industry, so when I niche myself down based on my product, you can find something similar, but you ain't gonna find this. So those little things make a difference in how you price it.
You made me thirsty and hungry saying that. I got so hungry and thirsty hearing that, because I've had the tea, and then I've had the tea cakes and the cake, and then the smoothies, and then I've moisturized myself. I haven't put lotion on since Saturday, you see.
Look.
I just want to add one quick thing. I've been told from people that costs too much or I can get it at Walmart. And that first 3 or 4 times it really hurt my feelings, but about that 6th time, what I realized, I had a mentor tell me one time, he asked me, do you have a premium product? And I'm like, yeah, I got a premium product. So when I think about my product, I have a premium product. So if you don't want to buy, you can't afford to buy, you think it's too much, you should move out the way so she can buy it or someone else can buy it. So my attitude is always, it's not for you. If someone tells me it costs too much, then it's not for you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Walmart is 24 hours a day, whatever, but it's not for you. And I am totally okay with that. I am absolutely okay with that. That is my thought process. I have a premium product, and if you don't want to pay the price for that premium product, because I do everything by hand. My kitchen just got a sheeter. Before that, I was rolling things out by hand, okay? So that takes a lot of rolling out by hand. Making everything from scratch, getting premium, products and quality products to make what you're making, it costs a lot of money. Flour has gone up from $5 5 years ago or 2 years ago to like $25 now. So butter, oh my God, I use butter, eggs, all of that. But my main thing is, it's not for you. If you don't want to pay for it, then it's not for you. And I am not offended because Walmart sells them 2 for $1. Go get them. Because I'm not the person that you want.
So that actually brings up a good point, because I know for me, having been around entrepreneurs, it's changed the way that I consume, because when I buy from the direct source, I no longer question the prices, because now you understand what goes behind, making the ash be gone or making the tea or the smoothie, what goes into it. So if I'm paying $20 for a tub, then it's just $20 for a tub. And if I don't want to buy it, then I don't want to buy it. So are there any other questions from Miss Birdie? Because you've been shaking and looking at me. Don't send me no hate mail. You got my phone number. Don't push me, nothing. Go.
So I have a question. We all know that being a Black woman entrepreneur is hard, no doubt about it. And the mental side of it, I think, is overlooked so much. How do you navigate the relationships in your life? So me stepping out was one of the first people in my friendship circle to step out and be like, I do stuff. I run a maternity wellness center for women of color. And I was one of the first ones to step out, and there's like no hate to my friends that still want to keep their jobs, but at me, like, it's hard for them to understand that relationship when I can't go out and do everything like I want because I don't clock out at 4 o'clock like everybody else. So navigating those relationships that are still important to me but don't fit into that space, like, how do you do that?
All right, everybody. Oh, because you want to go with your friends and you can't go play?
I don't play with my friends.
You're not a fun friend?
I'm not a fun friend, just kidding. What I am is I'm a truthful friend. So what I do is I make sure that my friends are aware of my limitations as far as my time is concerned. I let them know, like, hey, y'all know I have all these things to do, but I do have time on this time, right? So I try to make sure that if we're gonna do something, we plan it out at least, a month or so in advance. That might sound like a lot, but when you think about it, it was just July. And it's gonna be November the next time you, right? So if we plan it out and we're honest with that time, I make sure that I keep that time because they were able to move around some stuff for me so that we can actually spend some time together. I also factor in time during my week to do catch-up calls. So Sunday is my day to do that, right? I'm also married and I have kids and I have a granddaughter, yay, who just turned 2. So for me, it's important to have time with my family. I make sure that I have a date night with Mr. every Friday because he's so pretty and I don't want that to go away. I make sure that I have time with my kids. With them, their schedules are a little bit more because they're working and they're in school. My younger son plays lacrosse, so his stuff is all over the place. But because I'm the one that's driving him, I make sure to maximize the time that I have with him at that time. So whatever time that I do, I also let them know when I'm working. door is closed, this sign is out, this is what I'm doing. And I make sure that, I respect their time when we're together, and they respect my time when I'm working.
So this might hurt, but sometimes, no matter how long we've known them, our friends ain't our friends. So people that love you and care for you and are rooting for you, they're going to give you the time and the space, and they're going to be patient. And they're going to appreciate that you're growing, because you can't be my friend if you still 2020 Susan. I don't want you, because I'm growing constantly, and you have to be able to grow in your own way. You don't have to grow with me at my pace, but you can't be the same, because I can't come back and have that same conversation with you. And so sometimes we have to, in order to live in our passion and get to a point of success, we have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Since I started this business, the Lord has changed all of my friendships. There are people that I see, because I learned some of y'all are acquaintances. I was calling you a friend, but I just know you. You're not my friend. All of my relationships have changed. I have some actual friends now, and a ton of acquaintances that I see, I catch up with, I root for, but I can't kick it with you like that because you're not my friend.
Thank you. All right, so unfortunately, we have come to the end of our fantastic panel discussion. However, as I mentioned, we did want to do like a quick rundown of resources. And so can you provide that website, that location again, Nicey, for the org you mentioned?
So the Mountain Plains MSDC, you can go to nmmsdc.org to learn more, or I will be around for the next 15 minutes. And I have information as well as business cards. And if I know everybody has a birthday here, everybody needs a cake. So if you ever need cake or catering as well, I have that information as well. Thank you.
And please feel free to come down and meet your entrepreneurs and talk with them and get cards. They are here for you. They want to meet you. They're excited that you're here to listen to them and hear their stories. So thank you all so much for being a part of the audience. Thank you for letting me moderate for you this afternoon. And go do something fantastic. Thank you.